Ujjwal, Solutions Architect from Rivery. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me. And obviously, most of us know you as JJ. And yeah, this is a brilliant opportunity because we've just launched self-service, and I think I want to speak with you more on a product and a technical level about why is it such a big deal and what's the best way to get started. So yeah, I mean, why is self-service such a big deal from what it was?
Yeah, absolutely. Self-service is a huge opportunity for both small and large data teams to be able to be flexible and create pipelines without having to go through sort of the traditional, proof of concept process. Um, a lot of times within data teams, big and small, there's often ad hoc requirements that come up that are much, much easier to implement when there's a self-service option where, you can just get onto our platform, create a login, add a credit card, and immediately start building out your pipelines. I think there's a huge advantage in being able to do that because it gives data teams the flexibility and it gives data teams the ability to adjust on the fly as requirements change.
Mhm. And why? I mean, it's interesting because for us, it's very new. And there was like a lot of nervousness, is it going to be, do people want to be like handheld through the process, or do they want like a full demo? Do they want like, all the help of onboarding? But I guess over the past month, we've seen so many people embracing the self-service and they quite happily just get in and go. Is that the case? Is it as simple as that?
Yeah, so one of the beauties of the Rivery platform is that it does not require a high degree of sort of technical background in the subject. You can easily get started, create a login, and as you'll see in a little bit, it doesn't require great technical knowledge to be able to do. The platform is made for all kinds of users across the data spectrum, from your sort of data analyst to the data scientist, even to the data engineer, offering many options within the platform uh, for both code and no code solutions to building these data pipelines. We also have extensive documentation and a stellar support team to help you every step of the way in case questions do arise.
hmm I mean, you mentioned some of the roles like data analyst, data engineer. Who is it traditionally, though, the person who would want to be the champion within those teams? And who's the person that you normally see just going for this type of like self, self-service approach and just like try Rivery?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think that the platform can be geared towards pretty much any stakeholder on the data team. From the data analyst you hired one day ago to the CTO or someone who's looking at a more scalable, more um, accessible data ELT solution. A lot of times on the BI side, there's sometimes a requirement to bring in certain data that you don't necessarily want to have to ping your data engineers to then build out the pipelines, and that's a 2, 3, 4, 5 day process, potentially longer. Sometimes you just need the data and you need it now. And being able to bring that in with self service gives the data teams that flexibility to both prototype and move their production pipelines into deployment.
Right. And what has changed from the previous approach? I mean, the self-service, does it mean that, you get started in the same day? Does it mean that, I mean, how is it different from what it was before? Besides kind of like not having to go through the sales cycle, is it easier to implement, to deploy?
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the biggest things with our self service is to create user experience elements that make it much easier to deploy these pipelines. As soon as you log into the product for the first time, there's a tutorial there to help guide you through creating your first pipeline. Also, our documentation has been updated to be optimized for self service. So that anyone with any sort of data background will be able to understand and build out these pipelines. Whereas before, maybe there was more of a hand holding because our process was more geared with the sales team, working closely with the solutions team, working closely with the stakeholder. Now that's all been pushed to the stakeholder, and all of the processes have been optimized to ensure that they are successful with or without sort of a closely guided, holding their hand every step of the way.
hmm I mean, we're clearly trying to like remove any barrier or boundary for anyone in any team, actually big or small, that wants to just get started and try Rivery. And I guess that's why we're running a promotion this month where, like, anyone that wants to get started has like off the bat $1,500 worth of credits to try it and to explore all the capabilities that the platform has. But in practical levels, how far does that take you? Like, what can you do if I get started with Rivery and get like $1,500 worth of credits?
Yeah, great question. I'll share my screen and show you just how easy it is to create a simple pipeline to say move data that your boss has been asking you to move, or something that you need for some sort of exploratory analysis. So here's the platform, and we have some student subject data that we want to move into a table. Maybe we want to enrich an existing table with sort of additional information. Maybe this data is stored in an ad hoc format. It's not like in a traditional S3 bucket or anything like that. So here you would just go to create new river, source to target. You would choose Google Sheet as one of your, as the connection. You'd click new connection, click sign in with Google, automatically get a prompt, allow the permissions, and give this connection a name.
So this is like a typical, this is just an example of something you can do. Like, you're just like showing.
Exactly, exactly. And one of the biggest things is that with self-service, all of the documentation is laid out for you. So if you don't know what a GUID is, there's a documentation. There's a document that shows you exactly where to find it. Copy this,
Mhm.
paste that in here, and then let's auto map the fields. Awesome. So Rivery automatically detected the schema of the source and created our basic column mapping without having to manually do this as you would in a, say, having to build this pipeline from code.
Mhm.
Select our connection. We've already made it. And Rivery will automatically load the databases and schemas associated with the connection. To load into solutions. And let's go into our schema testing.
And of course, you're using Snowflake, but it could also be AWS or Google Cloud or any other data warehouse, right?
Yes, of course. We support all of most of the most popular cloud data warehouses, including Google BigQuery, Postgres, Redshift,
Right.
and Snowflake, of course, as well as blob storage options like S3 buckets and GCS.
Mhm.
That's configured. We now map our destination schema. Automatically, the schema will be created and give this river a name. So that's done. We can simply execute.
So basically, this is the 90-second create a river, get started, you know, process. And
And this is a much, much easier process than, say, having to build out the code and authentication and all of those from scratch. Here, immediately you want data, you can get it within 90 seconds. And of course, other sources are available as well. Google Sheets is just one example, but wherever your data is stored, FTP server, blob storage, you can bring it in with Rivery. Here, the pipeline is completed. So let's take a look at our data.
fine.
Amazing. We've just built a data pipeline in less than a minute. And now we are able to pull in data. We can go in and schedule this pipeline, say this Google Sheet updates, and we want to bring in new users. We are able to schedule that here. And we can also change how we want to load this data. Maybe we want to just create this table and append to it every time new data is there. or intelligently merge it based on a primary key.
Amazing. So that's brilliant. I mean, um, it's clearly really fast. I mean, like, is that kind of like the fastest way to get, like, I mean, it's like 90-second time to value, I guess. But also, there's a lot of conversations about Rivery kits, right? Like the fact that you can just like, and I think like it's also like can you just give us like an overview, because this is how to create like a new pipeline or workflow. But why is it such a big deal to be able to access like a kit right away?
Yeah, I think Kits is an amazing new feature we have because we do all of the hard work for you. Kits allows you to deploy a fully production level data model in minutes. All you have to do is select the data warehouse that you're loading the data into and what sources you're pulling that data from. One great example is our marketing analytics kit, which integrates
Mhm.
data from multiple different sources and creates the necessary joins and the logic needed to join this data together into say a full data model. Um, all you have to do is look at the kit that you want. You see the schema that we're pulling from, all of the tables and the keys that we're joining in. In this case, we're getting a full data model that shows us our ad performance across multiple platforms. You simply select the use kit and configure your connections to your sources and targets. And once that's created, all of the pipelines, all of the logic will be deployed for you. All you have to do is go in and set the global variables that define the names of your databases and schemas that you're loading into and set the schedule for this river. And with that, you have a full data model that would otherwise take, weeks to prepare and test and validate, pre-built for you, ready to go out of the box. Another great offering is our predefined reports, which is sort
Yeah.
of like it's light in that we pre-create all of the necessary tables for the most popular use cases. So
Mhm.
say I wanted to pull in predefined reports for say Facebook ads. You click the predefined reports option here. And in our schemas, we already create the sort of most popular use cases for predefined reports, like ads insights, account insights, campaigns. And these are all standard tables that you are able to look at the schemas for, define which primary keys you want, even though we've already defined sort of the best practice ones for you. And also schedule these as needed to bring in all of the latest data.
Mhm. Amazing. And kind of like these are the three ways, I guess, for someone that wants to get started with, like self-service and wants to try Rivery. Are these the best? What would you recommend? Is there somewhere you would advise them to start with, or to start like exploring it? Which one of those three?
I would
The
say,
predefined report, the kits.
right. I would say it depends on your data needs. If you want to do just an ad hoc data ingestion, I would say just go ahead and get started, create the connection, create the target connection, build the pipeline, pull in the data. If say you're looking for a more solution that is all encompassing, creating the full data model, you need to say bring in ads insights from one of our popular sources. Then I would say go to the kits option first. If you're still sort of exploring, trying to see, what data there is, you have a new source and you want to pull in, all of the tables, use our predefined reports. You don't have to do any sort of nitty gritty selecting which columns are compatible with other columns. We do all that for you, and you can see all of your data very, very quickly.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. I mean, it's amazing how like literally like in under 14 minutes, I'm looking at the timing and we've covered so much stuff. Um, Brilliant. I mean, I guess it's now up for people to try it, and everyone that's on the fence to just like make the most, especially over the next month, that they're just gonna get like a lot of value and a lot of credits to explore all these different features. And yeah, and I guess if they have any questions, they can also get in touch with you.
Yeah.
uh, to get any more advice. Brilliant. Thank you so much, JJ. And we'll be in touch very soon. I'd love to do another of these sessions.
Yeah, it was my pleasure. And I'm excited to see how everyone uses our new self service.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Welcome. Bye.